Hello everyone and welcome you to GST Workshop Series 2021. We are very happy this year. Apart from the main workshop that we do every year, this year we have come up with something very innovative. One of our pillars that we had thought for the theme 2021 was innovation. And I'm thankful to the IDT Committee Chairman C. Bishan Shah for coming up with a real innovative idea wherein we are also giving you pre-recorded introductory sessions wherein the speakers will be sharing with you very important rules, insights and amendments pertaining to the topic which the main faculty is going to cover in the workshop. I am extremely thankful to all the faculties who have agreed to come and share their knowledge, share the pre-recorded videos, and I am sure this step of ours will be a great enriching value add to all of you. Thank you once again for having the trust in Ahmedabad and attending this series, and your suggestions and feedback are always welcome. Thank you so much.
Welcome all the participants. We at Ahmedabad branch of WRC of ICAI are very much thankful to our chairman CA Harit Dhariwal sir, who has given us a motto and aim and vision for the year, which is ICAI: ideation, collaboration, adaptability and innovation. With that, we come with this introductory lectures which are pre-recorded for all of you. And in any game, it is said that your soldiers are required to be on your table. As GST is a big game changer for the businesses, we chartered accountants are always ready and equipped to help our businesses and clients at any moment of time with swift and smartly. And that's why we have recorded all these videos which will enable you to solve your issues related to GST, and you will be able to help your clients in a much better way, as we all are passing through this difficult time, and for GST we need some refreshing knowledge pools. So that's why we have recorded this video. I hope the same will be helpful to all of you, and happy learning. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Hello friends, welcome to this introductory lecture of GST refund. This introductory lecture is basically a part of the GST workshop series organized by Ahmedabad branch of WRC of ICAI. So we are going to discuss briefly about the refunds under GST law, and the agenda of today's discussion would be like what are the governing provisions of the refund, types of refund, certain nitty-gritties of refund. We will discuss circular that has been issued for pending refund claims, and relief in refund of exporter in case of mismatch. So the governing provisions of GST of refund under GST law are basically under CGST Act, CGST rules, as well as number of circulars. Basically there are a number of circulars issued so far as refund under GST is concerned, but in 2019 they organized all circulars and issued a master circular, that is circular number 125 bar 44 2019. So section 54 to 57 of CGST Act discusses about the refund. So there are the provisions related to refund under CGST Act, and rule 89 to 97A of CGST rules are basically giving the mechanism or the procedure for claiming the refund. Apart from this, there is this master circular 125 bar 44 2019, and there are other circulars such as 135, 139 and 147 as latest as issued in 2021, discussing about or clarifying the issues faced by the taxpayer while filing the refund claims. Now the application for refund is to be filed under RFD form number RFD 01 along with the required documents as provided in the annexure A of circular number 125, and it is to be noted that no physical documentation is required to be submitted while filing the refund claims. When we look at the refund claim under GST, it can be broadly classified under these categories: refund of input tax credit, refund of tax, that is integrated tax, and there are some miscellaneous refunds. So when we look at the first classification of input tax credit, input tax credit refund can be claimed when the goods are exported or services are exported under bond or LUT. Bond or LUT means letter of undertaking. We'll discuss about that while discussing the zero rated supplies as per IGST Act. Second, export means taking goods from India to outside, to the place outside India, and similarly export of services outside India. Now supply to SEZ unit or SEZ developer is also considered as a zero rated supply, and input tax credit used for supply of SEZ supply to SEZ unit or developer is also available as refund. Now these are the two categories under which refund can be claimed for the input tax credit. Apart from that, for domestic supplies there is one special category, that is inverted duty structure, for which we can claim the refund of input tax credit as per GST law. Now this classification was for the refund to be claimed for input tax credit used for supply of goods in course of exports, supply of goods to SEZ unit and developer, and for the inverted duty structure. Now there is another mechanism of claiming the refund of tax that we pay, that is integrated tax to be paid by the person involved in the supply of exports or supply to SEZ or deemed exports. So under this classification again there can be three categories of export of goods or services with payment of IGST, supply to SEZ unit or SEZ developer with payment of IGST, and deemed export. Deemed export is also a special type of category covering the or rather including the erstwhile law of EOU concept. And there is this last classification or the that is for the refund that can be claimed is the balance of electronic cash ledger. This had to be automatic, but somehow because of this mechanism of GSTR 1, 2 and 3 not working, this has to be filed again through a separate refund application. And the another point is that where there is a payment of tax under wrong head, so such payment also can be claimed a refund. Now as per section 54, there are certain bar wherein refund cannot be claimed for so far as unutilized input tax credit is concerned. That is the first classification we are talking about, where the goods are exported out of India are subject to export duty. In that case we cannot claim the refund of unutilized input tax credit. And when the supplier avails the drawback or refund of IGST paid on exports, in that case also refund of unutilized credit cannot be taken. So these are the two limitations or these two conditions under which refund cannot be claimed. Briefing again, three broad classification in which refund can be claimed. One, input tax credit, where export of goods and supply to SEZ without payment of tax under LUT is done, and inverted duty structure. Second classification, integrated tax, export of goods or supply to SEZ with payment of tax as well as deemed export. And the third is that miscellaneous, wherein balance of electronic cash ledger can be claimed as refund, and tax paid under wrong head can be claimed as a refund. So having understood this brief or the introduction of the refund, we'll understand the brief procedure or the forms that are to be filed for the claiming of refund. As we know, as we just saw in earlier slide, that form RFD 01 is to be filed for the claiming of refund, and it was also confirmed that only refund application can only be filed online. There can be no manual application. So form RFD 1 is to be filed online. The time limit specified under the law under section 54 is that the GST refund or refund under GST law can be filed from the 2 years from the relevant date. We'll discuss the relevant date, but this is to be noted that 2 years from the relevant date is very much crucial for various type of refunds. Now after we file the refund, acknowledgement is received. It is received in RFD 02. This has to be received within 15 days from the date of filing of RFD 1. So okay, start karti tu. Okay, so having understood the brief of refund, we will go into the general procedure for the refund. These are the statutory forms that are required to file for filing of refund. As we saw in the earlier slide, that for filing of refund we need to file form RFD 01, that is to be filed within 2 years from the relevant date. Relevant date is specified specifically for different categories of refund. We'll discuss that. After filing of RFD 1, it has been specified that an acknowledgement of filing of refund application 2 is to be received within 15 days from filing of RFD 1. So if at all there is some deficiency in refund application, then the deficiency memo is to be received within 15 days, and if there is no deficiency, then RFD 2, that is acknowledgement, is to be received within 15 days. After that, RFD 4, that is a provisional refund order. So basically it is to be giving the refund of 90%, that is the provisional refund giving within the 7 days from the date of acknowledgement, from the date of RFD 02. And the final refund order, that is in RFD 06. This is the final refund sanction order, or we can say a rejection order, against which we can file an appeal. So this RFD 06 is to be issued within the 60 days from the receipt of, this is to be issued by the officer within 60 days from the date of receipt of GST RFD 01. So when I file RFD 01, either acknowledgement is to be issued within 15 days or a deficiency memo is to be issued. In case of deficiency memo, we have to file again the refund application as a fresh refund application, and this 2 years from the relevant date and 15 days will start again. After receiving the acknowledgement in RFD 02, either provisional refund order or the payment advice itself is received within 7 days, and the final refund order in RFD 06 is received in 60 days from the RFD from the date of receipt of RFD 01. Now, if at all there is some issue in the refund, then a show cause notice can be issued, without issuing a deficiency memo, and a show cause notice can be issued in RFD 08 for the rejection of the application of refund, and a reply of show cause notice can be filed. After filing of reply to the show cause notice, if there is some issue and the department is not agreeing, and then RFD 06 can be issued as a rejection order, and against which appeal can be filed in form number APL 01. And RFD 11 is basically a letter of undertaking. So when a taxpayer wants to export the goods or services without payment of tax, then a letter of undertaking is to be applied for online, and the letter of undertaking that is received is under form RFD 11. So briefly we can understand in this chart the refund process. RFD 1 refund application, so within 15 days either RFD 02 is issued, that is acknowledgement, or RFD 03 is issued, that is deficiency memo. In case of deficiency memo, I need to file the fresh refund application in from RFD 1, and again the same calculation starts. Now again, after receipt of acknowledgement and under RFD 02, in case of zero rated supplies, within 7 days the RFD 04 is received. When whole or part of amount is not refundable, then RFD 08, that is show cause notice, is received, and a reply to show cause notice is to be filed by the taxpayer within 15 days of the RFD 09. And as we saw in the earlier slide, that RFD 6 is to be issued within 60 days by the officer from the date of receipt of RFD 01, and the payment advice is received under RFD 05. Now, as we saw that refund application is to be filed within 2 years from the relevant date. Now, the relevant date has been defined separately for different types of refund. The different type of refunds that we understand is export of goods, export of services, deemed export. Then there is this mention of refund that is available to a taxpayer due to judgment by a court or a decree or order or direction of tribunal or court. Refund of unutilized input tax credit under inverted duty structure, a refund of provisional tax paid under the other provisions of GST law, and refund claimed by the person other than supplier. So in certain cases, if a person is bearing the burden of tax, then that person can be or can also claim the refund, being another person than the supplier. In any other cases, there is this mention of payment of taxes. Now, for export of goods, if goods are exported by sea or air, then the relevant date should be counted from the date from which ship or aircraft leaves. So, it's not actually that we need to look after at what time or what date the ship or aircraft is leaving, but practically it is the export general manifest EGM that is filed, that date is to be looked into. Same way, if it is by land, then goods passes the custom frontier. If the goods are exported by the post, then date of dispatch by the post office outside India, this should be the relevant date, and from which the 2 years to be counted. In case of deemed export, see, deemed export is basically an export or supply made to a person who eventually will be exporting the goods. So deemed export can be understood as a supply within India to a person who will be exporting the goods. So in that case, the 2 years to be counted from the date of furnishing of return related to goods that are under deemed export. Export of goods, deemed export, of course deemed export is the concept only applicable for the goods. Now for the export of services, with payment or without payment, it is to be considered, the date to be considered from the receipt of foreign exchange, where supply is completed prior to the receipt of payment, or where the payment is received, then issue of invoice. That is to be taken as a relevant date for counting 2 years from the for filing of refund claim. Similarly, if refund is to be claimed due to some judgment, then the communication of such judgment is to be considered as a relevant date. Refund of unutilized ITC under inverted duty structure, then due date of furnishing of return for the period in which such claim is arisen, that is to be counted as relevant date. Refund of provisional tax paid, adjustment of tax is to be done after the final assessment, and then if at all there is some refund, that tax is to be refunded, then that adjustment of tax to be considered as a relevant date. Refund is to be claimed by another person, then the receipt of goods or services by such person who is receiving the goods, and that in that manner that can be claimed refund, counting the relevant date. In any other case, the payment of tax, I mean from any other case from above list, if there is some other cases, then payment of tax to be considered. For example, there is some excess cash available in the electronic ledger, electronic cash ledger, then payment of tax is to be considered, and the relevant date to be counted accordingly. Now this is very important, the supply of goods or services to SEZ under LUT, no date is specified in the law. So as of now, yes, there is this we can say lacuna in the law, that there is no specific date that is to be specified as a relevant date. So where the goods are supplied or services are supplied to SEZ under LUT, then in that case there is no limitation or there is no bar given by GST law for filing of refund claim. Taxpayer can claim the refund in form RFD1 within the relevant date, and in case the deficiency is found, then deficiency memo is issued in RFD03, then the taxpayer is required to file the fresh refund application. Now, having said about this fresh refund application, there might be a scenario that while filing the refund application again, the taxpayer may skip the relevant date and time limit may expire. So considering this practical problem, the proviso has been added in the CGST rules stating that the time period for filing of refund application in form RFD1 till the date of communication of deficiencies in RFD03 by proper officer shall be excluded from the period of 2 years. So when a taxpayer files a refund claim and RFD03 is issued, and after the RFD03 is issued, the taxpayer is required to file a fresh application. So the period between the date on which RFD03 is issued and again a fresh application is filed, this period is to be excluded from calculating this 2 years time limit for filing of refund claim. And this is very practical and a proper solution that has been provided by this amendment, because the thing was that in case of deficiency memo being issued, in certain cases the taxpayer might skip the date and the 2 years might get expired, and accordingly the refund time limit for the refund claims is not within the limit. So this is a proper amendment that has been done. Apart from that, in rule 90 of CGST rules, sub rule 5 and 6 has been inserted in this recently, wherein it has been stated, I mean this was not there when this refund mechanism was there, that a person who has filed the refund claim, he did not have the facility to withdraw the refund claim. Okay, so by this recent amendment under Rule 90 of inserting the rule for sub rule 5 and 6, a withdrawal facility has been given to the taxpayer. By filing the form RFD 01W, a person can withdraw the refund application that has been filed before the authority, but this withdrawal application needs to be done before the provisional refund order that is to be received in RFD 05 or the final refund order is issued under RFD 06 or the payment advice that has been issued in RFD 05. So before the issuance of RFD 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8, the person can or taxpayer can withdraw the refund application that has been filed, and on receipt of the application for withdrawal of refund in form RFD 01W, any amount debited by the applicant for electronic credit ledger or cash ledger as the case may be, such on withdrawal of such application, this amount that was debited will again be credited in the electronic credit ledger or cash ledger as the case may be. Now the statements that are required to be uploaded in the JSON file while filing of refund application. So when I file the refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of exports without payment of tax, that is under LUT, a statement 3 is to be uploaded. So the details are such that details of outward supply, details of shipping bill, bill of exports, export general manifest, and the BRC or FIRC is to be submitted. Refund of tax paid on export of services made with payment of tax, then statement 2 is to be uploaded. It will have the documents of outward supply, details of BRC and FIRC. Now the refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of supplies made to SEZ without payment of tax, then statement 5 is to be uploaded. Refund of tax paid on supplies made to SEZ units and developer with payment of tax, statement 4 is to be uploaded, and refund of tax paid on the supplies made to SEZ unit on with payment of tax by SEZ. So there is this option of filing of refund by the unit supplying the goods or services to SEZ unit, or SEZ unit itself can file the refund claim for the tax that has been charged by the DTA unit in case of option of with payment of tax. So in that case, if an SEZ unit is applying for the refund, then statement 4A needs to be uploaded. Refund of ITC utilization of account of accumulation on account of inverted duty structure, statement 1A needs to be uploaded, and therein this details of inward supply and outward supply needs to be provided. Refund to supplier of tax paid on deemed export, again statement 5B, wherein the document for the related to the outward supply needs to be uploaded. Refund of excess payment of tax, this is the payment of tax wherein this there is an excess payment in electronic cash ledger, then in that case statement 7 needs to be uploaded, and the details of return wherein this excess payment of tax is to be disclosed and tax payable needs to be uploaded. Refund of tax paid on intrastate, which I mean this is the wrong head in which if I am paying the tax. So if I was about to pay the tax on as CGST and SGST and I pay under IGST, then I have to claim the refund of CGST SGST. In this case the statement 6 is to be uploaded, wherein this GST and of recipient, details of documents of outward supply, details of documents covering transaction of intrastate and interstate, and the transaction which was subsequently held as the original transaction either interstate or intrastate, that has to be uploaded. Now as per this master circular, as we discussed that there is this master circular that has been issued clarifying certain issues so far as GST is concerned. So they have given a specific list in annexure A of this master circular, that in various type of refunds what all documents are required to be uploaded, because there was a case that certain documents were not actually notified in the law, and they had been called by the department for verification. So to answer this type of queries, the board has issued the circular stating that these are the only documents that are required to be submitted for a particular type of refund. So if there is a refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of exports without payment of GST, so I am claiming the refund of unutilized input tax credit. So unutilized input tax credit, the taxpayer needs to verify that whether the ITC that has been claimed as refund, whether that has been auto-populated in 2A. So there was this restriction of or rather there is this restriction of input tax credit, that is auto-populated in taxpayers GSTR 2A, statement of invoices and BRCs and FIRC. Refund of tax paid on export of services made with payment of tax, again GSTR 2A, statement of invoices, BRC, FIRC, etc. Similarly, input tax credit on account of supplies to SEZ, so again GSTR 2A, statement of invoices. And this is important, that endorsement from the specified officer of SEZ regarding receipt of goods and services for the authorized operation within SEZ. So when goods or services are supplied to SEZ unit or to SEZ developer, an endorsement from the SEZ unit or the specified officer of SEZ is needed for claiming of refund claim. We'll see in coming slides that this authorized operations is also being discussed in the recent amendment. Now coming to the refund of the tax paid on supplies made to SEZ developer with payment of tax, then again endorsement is requirement, but since this is with, okay, so now we'll briefly discuss upon the zero rated supply. Zero rated supply is defined under section 16 of IGST Act, and zero rated supplies means supply of goods or services that are exported, so export of goods or services with payment or without payment, and supply of goods or services to SEZ unit or developer with payment or without payment. So when I say with payment or without payment means where a taxpayer is engaged in export of goods or supply of goods to SEZ unit or developer, the taxpayer has basically two options for claiming the refund. One is by supplying the goods under bond or a letter of undertaking and claiming the refund of unutilized input tax credit that are used for the export of goods or supply to the SEZ. The another option that is available is that the taxpayer can pay the taxes on supply done in a course of exports or supplies to SEZ unit or developer. Of course, that tax needs not to be collected from the person receiving the goods outside India, because the burden is to be borne by the person claiming the refund. So the taxpayer who is paying the taxes can claim the refund of the taxes paid. As we saw in the earlier slide, that in case of supply of goods to the SEZ unit or developer, so in case of supply to SEZ unit or developer, DTA unit can also claim the refund of whatever taxes are paid, or SEZ unit can also claim the refund for whatever taxes they might have reimbursed to the taxpayer. So it will depend upon whether the supplier is collecting the taxes from SEZ unit, or taxpayer is paying the taxes from its own pocket and not collecting anything from the SEZ unit. So on either person who is bearing the burden of GST can claim the refund. Now there is very important amendment that has been proposed in Finance Act 2000 or Finance Act 2021. I am saying proposed because date is yet to be notified. Of course the bill is passed and it is already in act, but the date is to be notified. By this amendment, basically there are two important amendments that are proposed in section 16. One is they have defined or inserted the word authorized operations to SEZ unit or SEZ developer. So earlier also of course the goods and services were required to be for the authorized operation of the SEZ unit or developer, but endorsement was enough. Now since these words authorized operations are added in section 16, it means that either the developer of the SEZ or the board of approval of the SEZ will give a list of the authorized operations that are required for the development of SEZ or activity to be conducted within SEZ, and out of that list only they are considered to be an authorized operations, and for if any supplier done for that authorized operation, then the refund can be claimed. Another important amendment that has been proposed is that, as we saw, that section 16 gives options to the taxpayer to claim the refund either of input tax credit or with payment of taxes. Now that that option, the taxpayer was free to opt for that particular option, but now in this amendment it is proposed that the taxpayer can go for the option of with payment for only specified class of goods or services, and that also for a very limited class of person who can claim, who can opt for the refund of with payment option, meaning thereby by default any taxpayer who is engaged in export or supply of goods to SEZ can claim the refund of input tax credit, unutilized input tax credit, and by default that person cannot claim the cannot go for the option of with payment of taxes. With payment of taxes will be open only for a specific class of person and only for specific goods or services. Now this goods or services or specific class of person is yet to be notified, so we need to look into it, that whether there would be a positive list or a negative list. Positive list means that this all class of person can only file the can take the option of claiming the refund under with payment option, or negative list would be that these persons cannot claim, cannot opt for with payment option, and rest all the people or rest all persons or rest all goods and services the option for with payment of taxes is open. So we need to wait till this particular thing is notified. Apart from this, there is this rule 89 that has been introduced with effect from 23rd March 2020, wherein that a value of goods needs to be limited to 1.5 times of the value of like good domestically supplied by same supplier or similar supplier. So this provision has its own problems and some own issues. Time will tell that the manner in which the board will address. So this is the formula for that calculation of refund claims that has been given in rule 89. Refund amount is equal to refund of turnover of zero rated supply of goods plus turnover of zero rated supply divided by adjusted total turnover and net input tax credit. Adjusted total turnover and net input tax credit has been defined. So this there has been certain clarifications that while considering the 1.5 times of the domestic supplies, whether this 1.5 times is to be applied for the export turnover or adjusted total turnover as well. So it has been clarified that okay, it can be put for the adjusted total turnover. So numerator and denominator must remain same, and it cannot be only applied for the adjusted total turnover. This is again a new rule that has been inserted so far as refunds are concerned, that in case of non-receipt of foreign currency, because export of services has this and export of goods as well has this requirement of that receipt of sale proceeds under foreign exchange. So if that has not been received, then whatever refund is claimed, it needs to be deposited within 30 days with interest along with the within 30 days of the non-receipt or expiry of this particular period. Deemed export is basically a very limited forum in which a supply of goods by a registered person advance authorization license, then it is covered under deemed exports. Supply of capital goods under EPCG, or supply of goods by a registered person to 100% export oriented unit, and there is supply of gold by bank or public sector undertaking. So in this 4 categories only deemed export provisions shall apply. Application for refund, either in case of deemed export, either supplier can claim the refund or EOU unit can claim also refund. Again, this refund application will be the same, RFD 01A. This is important. Inverted duty structure is basically allowing the refund in domestic supplies as well, wherein the rate of tax of inputs, manual inputs, is higher than the tax on output supplies, that is including the goods as well as services. But when we look at the inputs, the refund is only about allowed for the input goods and not for the input services. So there is this issue regarding this formula that has been given in 89.5. This has again been challenged in High Court. Time will tell the fate of this, but as of now the law stands today that maximum refund is equal to turnover inverted rated supply of goods and services multiplied by net input tax credit divided by adjusted total turnover. and reduced by the tax payable, because this is a domestic supply, so tax payable on inverted rated supply of goods and services, that is to be reduced, and then eventually whatever amount is coming would be claimed as refund. So example, turnover of supply of goods is 10 lakhs, supply of services 4 lakhs, input tax credit is 8 lakhs, and input services credit is 1.5 lakhs. Tax payable on the supply of goods is 1.68 lakhs. So the refund needs to be calculated as under net input tax credit is 8 lakhs, adjusted total turnover 14 lakhs, then the tax that is to be paid on that inverted duty structure supply is 1.68 lakhs. So eventually 6.32 is the refund claim that can be claimed. Now availability of refund claims is, if I am inward supplies of goods and outward supplies of goods, then yes, refund is available. Inward supplies of services and outward supplies of goods, no. In this, even though it is an inverted structure, I cannot claim the refund. Inward supply of goods, outward supply of services, yes, it can be claimed, and inward supply of services and outward supply of services, refund cannot be claimed. Now refund of IGST on export of goods with payment of tax, this is famously known as an automatic refund route, automatic route of refund. So there is no requirement filing of refund application so far as with payment of tax is concerned in export of goods. Mere mention in table number 6A of GSTR 1, a proper details of the exports that is done is mentioned, then there is an refund is received automatic without filing of any refund claim. Where this automatic refund is concerned, if at all there is some issue or a status needs to be checked, it can be checked. I've taken an example of Ahmedabad Customs, wherein we can check the status of refund, IGST status in what's new section. Then on clicking this, serial number will be given, that on the basis of from where the goods has been exported, Surat, Ankleshwar, Hazira, Khodiyar, and etc. So on clicking on this particular thing, this an Excel file will be downloaded, and wherein you can search the situation or the error code for the refund that you have filed. So accordingly the steps needs to be taken, as be 001, 002, 003, 004, 005, 006, and the action that is required for making proper the error that has been disclosed in the sheet that has been downloaded. Now it is to be important to understand that while filing of GSTR 1, there is no compulsion of uploading the shipping bill details, but if shipping bill details are not uploaded, then this automatic refund is not received. So it is very much important that a taxpayer uploads the shipping bill details, so that a refund is easily received directly in the bank account without any error that has been listed out like this, and without making curing this particular error. There has been circular that is issued that by the customs, that in case of this with payment of taxes refund, if there is some issue, then an interim solution is provided where the refund are blocked, and CA certificates are required, and for a particular financial year, and the due date has been given by which a CA certificate needs to be submitted. So this circular number 12/2018 addresses the issues of the refund right from the period July 17 till the March 21. There has been this procedure also given in this circular for refund application. So these are the procedure that where this SB 005 error is coming, then this concordance table was required to be filed, and now as of now this concordance tables requirement was limited for the period up till 31st March 2019, and then again it was introduced by CA certificate, and paying a certain amount for making this discrepancy proper. So this was all a brief discussion on refund that are available under GST law. Thank you.